Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I want to recommend to you this book which I just finished reading, Out of the Silent Planet by C.S. Lewis. And this is the first book in a trilogy that is called the Space Trilogy. Before I actually start talking about the book itself, I want to talk about some of the history of how this book came about because it's some really fascinating stuff. So as I'm sure you well know, C.S. Lewis and J.R.R. Tolkien were very good friends. And they were also part of a literary group called the Inklings. And the Inklings would meet in a pub in Oxford once a week, and they would read aloud their works, read aloud what they had written, poems, chapters from stories. Tolkien read parts of Lord of the Rings to the Inklings, and C.S. Lewis read parts of Narnia and some of his other works to the Inklings, as well as this book. But how this book came about is C.S. Lewis and J.R.R. Tolkien were chatting. And Tolkien was like, there's not enough of the things in stories that we really like. So I suppose we'll have to write them ourselves. They agreed that one of them would write a story about space travel and the other would do a story about time travel. And so they literally flipped a coin over it, and the coin decided that J.R.R. Tolkien would write a story about time travel, and C.S. Lewis would do a story about space travel. J.R.R. Tolkien's story about time travel, he unfortunately abandoned it only 4 chapters in, but those 4 chapters are published in a book called The Lost Road and Other Writings, which is the 5th book in a 12-volume series called The History of Middle-earth. So if you're interested in Tolkien's abandoned time travel story, you can look in The Lost Road and Other Writings, because those first 4 chapters were really fascinating, really interesting, and I really enjoyed them. It's really unfortunate that Tolkien only abandoned it 4 chapters in. But the space travel story that C.S. Lewis was going to write, that became this. This story is about a man called Ransom. And we're told in this book that Ransom isn't his actual name, that's just what we're calling him. So Ransom, one day, he meets his former school friends that he knew when he went to school as a child, and they end up drugging him and abduct him, and they take him into a spaceship, and they take him to Mars. To put it simply, this was a fantastic book. I loved it. I loved every single second of it. It was fantastic. In fact, I would even go so far as to say that this book was better than C.S. Lewis's Narnia stories, which is saying quite a lot, as they are one of my most favorite series. But this book easily made it past Narnia. This book was better than Narnia, at least in my opinion. Much better than Narnia. A lot of character development in this book, and some really fascinating stuff to think about. So there's bits of theology that are sprinkled throughout it that are really fascinating and that are really great bits of theology, but they're not very hard to understand at all. You can easily grasp what C.S. Lewis is trying to tell you with these bits of theology sprinkled throughout. This book was fantastic. You can tell that C.S. Lewis put a lot of thought and work and effort into this book, with every single sentence, every single word being significant to the story that C.S. Lewis is telling. You can feel everything that Ransom is feeling. You feel as though you are Ransom, or that you are there with Ransom. Really, you can feel all his emotions, all his pain, his anger, his joy, his desperation to get back to Earth, his despair, and everything. Because when he goes to Mars, he ends up meeting, there are actually intelligent species on Mars that he ends up meeting and tries to figure out their language and communicates with, and they are trying to get information out of him about his world, Earth, which they call Fukandra, and they call Mars, the aliens call Mars, which is their home, they call it Malacandra. And so they're trying to probe Ransom for information, while Ransom is trying to find out more about this fascinating new planet that he is on, and he's trying to find out more about this species of alien as well. Again, this is the first book in a trilogy, and I'm really, really excited to read the rest of this trilogy. If they're anything as great as the first book, they're going to be fantastic. I loved this first book alone, and I'm really, really excited and really looking forward to reading the rest of the series. if you're a fan at all of, Narnia, Middle-earth, H.G. Wells, or Star Wars, especially if you're a fan of H.G. Wells and Star Wars at all, I can pretty much guarantee that you will love this book. I think it's better than Narnia. You might not end up thinking that, we all have different opinions, but I can pretty much guarantee that you will end up enjoying it. I think this book is even better than The Time Machine, and they are very similar in, tone and writing style. If you saw when I did a book review of The Time Machine a while back, maybe a month back, I really, really enjoyed that book. But I would say that this book is even better than The Time Machine. And they're very, very similar in terms of writing style. And this book is only, really short. It's only about 150 pages. So it's not too much. And I really hope you'll enjoy it. I enjoyed it very much. And such a great book. Better than Narnia, I would say. And this book has made it into one of my top 10 absolute most favorite books of all time. I really enjoyed it, and I really hope you will too. I cannot recommend it to you enough. I give it my highest recommendation, a 10 out of 10. This is my favorite C.S. Lewis book so far, and I really recommend it. Well, thank you so much for watching this video. As always, if you enjoyed watching it, please hit the like button and please subscribe to my channel if you're not already, because I do lots of short book reviews like this one, and basically anything else related to books. I really hope that you'll give Out of the Silent Planet a try, as well as the rest of the trilogy, and which I haven't read the rest of the trilogy yet, but I will get to that soon. I really hope that you'll enjoy Out of the Silent Planet. Well, for now, farewell.